So welcome everyone to our online Rosé wine event. My name's Terry. I work in the community and member participation team here at our co-op, working hard with my team to bring you, our members, closer to the business that you own and the products that you love. Tonight's event's been recorded for those who couldn't make it. So if you prefer not to appear on the recording, you can always leave your camera off. You can also find the recording available on our YouTube channel in case you want to watch any of it back yourself. I will share the link in the chat later on. Anyway, so tonight is all about our Co-op Irresistible Côte de Provence Rosé. So we're joined by Sarah Benson, one of our wine buyers, who also recently qualified as one of only 425 masters of wine in the entire world. So we're really lucky to have such an expert here at Co-op. So a massive congratulations to you, Sarah. Right, so the running order for tonight then is Sarah's going to start us off with a quick introduction to our Co-op Irresistible Côte de Provence Rosé. We'll then be joined by Janet and Clement from Vidauban in the south of France, where this delicious rosé comes from, with stories about how it's made and what makes it so special. And with another first for our online wine events, we'll be joined by Meghan and Martin from Stateside Foods, who'll be telling us all about our Co-op Irresistible wood-fired pepperoni and hot honey pizza, which pairs just perfectly with tonight's wine. I believe we'll also be getting an insight into dough spinning, which I'm really looking forward to. As always, don't worry if you don't have a bottle or a slice yourself. There'll still be lots of interesting things that we're going to be covering. Following this, we'll go into the Q&A, which is your chance to ask these experts anything about what you hear tonight, or anything wine or even pizza related in general. As we go through the event, feel free to drop your questions into the chat, and we'll be sure to pick them up, and I'll ask them on your behalf later on. When we do get to the Q&A, you'll also be invited to come off mute and ask your question yourself if you prefer by using the hands up function on Teams. So the hands up function on Teams is in a different place depending on what device or browser that you're using, but it should be easy enough to spot. Any problems finding it, let us know in the chat and we'll do our best to help. We'll end the event with a quick fire question for one lucky member on the call to win a bottle of our Co-op Irresistible Côte de Provence Rosé, so make sure that you're paying attention. We are hoping to be done by 8 o'clock, but if we've still got some questions to get through and people are happy to hang on, we may stick around a little bit longer. And with that, I will hand over to Sarah.
Thanks very much, Terry. I think we're still waiting for the winery to dial in, but I will do my best to start us off. Perhaps we can jump in with an update on the pizza if we need to. So obviously we've got some bright sunshine starting now, or we have done in the last few days, but it's still pretty cold. So we thought it would be good this evening to take you somewhere that has 3,000 hours of sunshine a year and a Mediterranean climate. So just hold that thought and feel you're getting transported to fields of lavender. Think of those warm, sunny days. And we're going to be talking about a rosé tonight. Now, we may have some rosé skeptics on the call. I don't know if any of you are here but thinking, well, I'm not that bothered. I don't really like rosé. Hopefully, by the end of this, we can try and convert you a bit. Because rosé in the UK, although it is gaining traction a lot and growing faster than red and white wine, it's still quite small. It's only 8% of what we drink. But to the French, it's massive, and to Provence even more so, where they keep 70% of all the rosé wine they produce and drink it all themselves. So we're very lucky that we've got one that we've smuggled out of Provence, and we sell at Co-op, our Irresistible Provence Rosé, and we can learn a little bit more about where it comes from this evening. I think, Terry, we still haven't got the winery on, but I'm happy to walk through, or would you like to jump to pizza first? For those of you who may be trying the pizza, have had the pizza before, or are curious, the reason why we've thought this is the perfect event to tie in with the pizza this evening is this is one where if you buy our Irresistible wood-fired pepperoni and hot honey pizza, it's one that if you look on the back of the packet, we've actually paired it with the Provence Rosé, and for good reason. I think it's something that rosé, it's sort of it sits in the middle of red and white wine. If you had red wine with spicy food, you can really taste the tannins. The tannins come through a lot more, and it can make the spice exacerbated, and you get it's not necessarily a pleasant combination. But rosé, and particularly this Provence style rosé, where it's a little bit creamier, a little bit weightier, goes really well, and that's why we chose to match it and put the two together. As we are still waiting for the winery, perhaps, first of all, I know you're all very keen to hear about the wine, we might go over to Stateside, who work with us and have worked with us for many years with our Irresistible pizza range. And they can tell you a little bit about how our pizza's developed. And hopefully at that point, the French guys will join on. all right.
Hopefully, as long as you don't ask me to fill too much time. Yeah, firstly, hi everyone, and yeah, really appreciate us being invited onto this call today. So my name's Martin. I'm the commercial manager at Stateside Foods, and although you may not have heard of Stateside Foods, there's a very good chance that you've tried one of our pizzas, especially if you've bought a Co-op pizza in the past few years. So we actually supply over 150 million pizzas a year, but we do it all under retailers' own brands. And Co-op are one of our longest and most strategic partnerships. So a little bit about Stateside as a business. We formed in 1990 and we moved to our current site in West Orton in Bolton in 1995. So apologies to anyone who had a romantic vision of us being nestled in some Tuscan foothills. We're actually just round the corner from the Co-op head office in North Manchester. And although our location hasn't changed since '95, our site itself has been completely transformed. We've expanded our boundaries. We've invested a huge amount and continually do so in our facilities and our capabilities. And over the course of time, we have grown to become the largest own label pizza business in the UK. So we now employ about 1,200 people. We have a workforce representing 43 different nationalities, and we're a key part of the local community, and we're really proud of all the work that we do to support it. So, you know, whether that's fundraising for Bolton Hospice or sponsoring the gym next to the Bolton Arena, or even just a local litter picking scheme, we do a lot to keep involved and to support our local area. Throughout that time, we've stayed true to our focus, which is just creating great pizza, but trying to do it to the highest possible standard that we can. And that's really been the cornerstone of our relationship with Co-op, that focus on quality and continuously pushing forwards on the product, on the design, on the packaging, on the technology, yeah, over that 20-year plus trading history, we've grown the pizza category into what I hope you agree today is a fantastic range of products. So just moving on to my next slide, I thought I'd give you a bit of an insight into some of the work that we do that's kind of behind the scenes, not necessarily obvious when you see our products on shelf. But one of our biggest joint projects was back in 2014. We invested in a deep chill facility, which allows us to guarantee extra shelf life to Co-op. It keeps our pizzas fresher for longer, and most importantly, it reduces the amount of waste or the amount of pizzas that end up in the bin. So we think we've saved over 1.5 million pizzas a year through that joint venture. As a business, we're aiming to move to net zero emissions by 2025, and that's across our entire value chain. So not just our product, our process facilities and our business itself, but that's the entire end-to-end supply chain. So that's all our suppliers, their supply base, and anything onwards to customer delivery. And it's something we've been working on for a long time. One of our biggest achievements was a long time ago, and it seems really obvious now, but we were the first to market with Co-op to move away from the polystyrene baseboards that used to come with every pizza. And since then, the entire market has followed suit, but we were proud that ourselves and Co-op were leading the way with that. We've saved over 195 tons a year from landfill, and that's just with Co-op. So imagine the impact of that across the wider market. And yet sustainability is always a focus, and growing in the amount of airtime that it gets. So with our ingredient suppliers and with the co-op development team, we go out of our way to source the most sustainable and nutritionally beneficial ingredients that we can, of course aligning to co-op's incredibly high and ethical standards of sourcing. So just recently we've managed to move our entire stone bait range to green and amber traffic lights on the front of pack, so trying to make pizzas that a little bit healthier. And then finally, I think it's worth us saying that it is a fun business to be in. We love what we do. We eat a lot of pizza, which is great. And some of the deals that we've done with co-op, so most notoriously, I think, are our Super Saver promotions. So this is where we do like 2 pizzas and a pack of beer, or 2 pizzas and a tub of Ben and Jerry's, which is one that's on at the minute, £5 for members, and you get the chance to win Co-op Live tickets. So get it whilst it's on for the next couple of weeks. But these are the kind of joint ventures that Co-op are really forward thinking on, and there's a definitive focus to make sure that we're offering Co-op customers the best value for money whilst maintaining a really quality product. And we've been really lucky over the course of our time working together to get a lot of awards for what we've done. I've listed a few at the bottom of the slide there, but I think the one to call out and to lead us nicely onto the next few slides that Meghan will take us through is Product of the Year we got last year. So me and Meghan were up on stage to accept that reward, and that was for our new Irresistible range of pizzas. So that's Stateside as a business, and I'll let Meghan talk through the slightly more exciting business of the actual pizzas themselves.
Thanks, Martin. I appreciate the commercial manager in you promoting the Super Saver deal while we're here to talk about
I couldn't turn down the
Irresistible.
opportunity.
So yeah, I'm Meghan. I am the MPD manager for the Co-op account at Stateside. So I work exclusively with Co-op and the Co-op developers there. So obviously we're here to talk to you about the Co-op Irresistible Pepperoni and Hot Honey Pizza. But before we dive into that, I just wanted to give you a bit of insight into the rest of our Irresistible range, and then I'm going to talk you through a bit around the work that we've done on the Irresistible range as a whole before we then talk specifically about the pepperoni and hot honey pizza, which is pairing with today's wine. So our range of our large Irresistible pizzas currently consists of 10, 7 of which are standard and 3 limited edition ones. Really excitingly, 2 of those actually only launched in stores just last week. These 2 are the bottom right 2, the mozzarella and tomato vodka, which is our take on the creamy and indulgent varial pasta sauce, and also the mushroom and truffle, which is garlic portobello mushrooms paired with a creamy truffle bechamel and spinach. Both really delicious pizzas, and we're super excited to see them in store now. But if you want to try them, you're going to have to be quick because they are only in for 3 months, so get out and try them while you can. If we could move on to the next slide. Oh, I'm seeing the wine.
Don't worry, Meghan, we don't expect you to tell us all about Provence. It's okay.
Thank you, because I'm here to learn. I can't give you that guidance. Whilst we wait for that to come up, I can just keep chatting if you want. Yeah. So our Irresistible range, as seen today, actually began its development journey in 2022. Ah, there it is. Thank you. So this, and then launched in 2023. This development project came from a drive to be best in market with our pizzas at Co-op. And when we looked at the chilled retailer pizza market, everyone was in oblong and oval shapes, such as we were, which you see in the 2019 picture there. And we wanted to be first to market in the UK with a pizza more alike to what you see in popular Neapolitan pizzerias. The key characteristics of a Neapolitan pizza is a really thin base with a large fluffy crust, which is perfect for dunking into dips for those that like to, but we won't tell any Italians that we Brits do that. Some examples of UK restaurant chains that are doing really well with Neapolitan pizzas would be the likes of Pizza Pilgrims, Rudy's and Francomanca. We went on many trawls sampling the best of this style so that we could learn as much as we could and bring it back to the factory. And after a lot of research stateside, together with Freiburger, who is our parent company, we designed and invested and built a really innovative and exclusive process that replicates this dough spinning action, which is carried out usually by hand in Italian pizzerias, where what we're doing is we're pushing more dough to the edge, creating a really thin base and a thicker crust. When this crust hits our wood-fired ovens, it then expands really quickly before crisping up and forming a fluffy and aerated crust as a result of the combination of yeast and fermented sponge in the recipe. For those of you that aren't super familiar with the kind of bread technical terms, a fermented sponge is actually what we call a really simple dough that we then make and ferment for 24 hours. Kind of think like a sourdough process, if you will. And this sponge then adds flavour and acts as a raising agent in the dough too, creating that perfect chewy softness so every slice is restaurant quality. The ingredients that we use on our pizzas, we really pride ourselves on being on the absolute highest quality as well, which is why in the base we use a premium grade 00 Italian flour, just like the real Neapolitan pizzerias do. And we also pride ourselves on the topping ingredients. When we can't find one that meets our standards, we really do endeavour to make it ourselves where possible, which is what we do with our Italian Roma tomato sauce, which is on the majority of the Irresistible pizzas. If you could move on, please. Fabulous. So the one that you've all been waiting for, the Irresistible Pepperoni and Hot Honey Pizza. So this pizza concept actually came out of a food trawl that we did in London in 2023. For those of you who aren't familiar with what a food trawl is, I keep mentioning it and sometimes forget the context of people outside of the food industry. This is actually one of the real perks of the job, and we get to go out with Co-op and our Co-op counterparts, and we spend the day walking around the city, pounding the pavements, going to loads of different pizzerias and trying a vast number of pizzas. What we're doing here is we're looking for exciting ingredients, exciting concepts, and sort of any emerging trends that we could see that we can bring back to the factory and to the Co-op range. The swavory, like sweet and savoury trend, think, sweet and salty popcorn, that's been growing in the UK for years. But really recently, we started to see a transition from sweet and savoury to sweet and spicy. And we started to see restaurants on our food trawl in London were offering honey and chilli combinations or different other combinations of sweet and spicy. So we began the development process and wanted to investigate this kind of element more deeply. And after some time in the kitchen, we settled on using pepperoni and a hot honey to deliver that hot and sweet flavour profile. Knowing that we have a pepperoni already in our stone-baked range, our stone-baked double pepperoni offering, we wanted to make sure it really differentiated and kind of was ahead of the market. So we looked at as many suppliers as we could, looked at the rest of the market, and we settled on wanting to use a cupping pepperoni. Now, a cupping pepperoni is a type of pepperoni that when you cook it in the oven, it starts to curl up. The edges kind of come in a little bit, which can lead to some interesting shapes. And when they do really cup, they almost look a bit bowl-like. You might have seen these in kind of American pizzas. It's really popular over there, especially in their New York style pizzas. And what I really love about a cupping pepperoni is that as it curls, it creates this really like these small pockets, which are then allow the honey to pool into places. So then when you get a bite, you're getting a real sweet and spicy hit all in one. Unfortunately, we actually couldn't find a supplier that would meet our expectations on this, and so we actually worked with one of our core suppliers and Co-op to develop something that was suitable and our own kind of pepperoni for this. When we've looked then at the rest of the pizza, we thought really carefully about what we can do to elevate both those sweet and spicy elements, which is why we added chili rings onto it to really pack a punch. You'll see that it's actually a medium chili rating with 2 chilies on it. And then we focused on the star of the show, the honey. We wanted to look at different ways to apply this and also what that would then do from your customer experience and then the flavour delivery as well. And we found that when we added it onto the pizza before cooking it, it kind of dulled the flavour a little bit, and we really wanted to push it up more, which is why we gave it to you guys as a sachet on the pizza. And what I think is really nice about that as well is it gives you the opportunity to add your own flair, whether you want to drizzle it on top, you want to just dollop it all in the middle, or as some people do, squeeze it into a bowl and dip separately. It just adds a bit of fun to the eating experience. This pizza launched in May of last year as a limited edition pizza, and it's actually performed so well that we're now transitioning it into our standard range. So you may see over the next couple of weeks, we're actually going to have a bit of a packaging change where we'll take off that limited edition flash on pack and it will just be a standard one that you can get all year round. And the reason for this is it's just performed so well. Since May of last year, Co-op have actually sold almost 500,000 of this pizza, which is huge numbers, and something that we're really excited about. So it's kind of a whistle-stop tour. I don't want to take up too much time because I know you've got a lot to chat about with the wine, but please do feel free to ask any questions and we'll answer as and when we can. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Meghan and Martin. I think we can all agree that a food trawl sounds like a fantastic job to have to do, to find out, get all these ideas for toppings and everything. So does anybody have any questions specific to pizza that they'd like to ask at this point, or shall we start talking about the wine that we've matched with the pizza? As you can tell, we have here we go, our French colleagues joining us. Hi.
Hello.
How are you doing? Thank you very much for joining.
We've managed to join last.
No, thank you.
Okay.
I thought I was going to have to pretend to be a winemaker as well, and everyone would be really disappointed. So,
right,
joining from Provence itself.
Hello, everybody. Well, I'm Janet. I've lived here in the south of France for more than 40 years. I married into a family of 3 generations of wine growers who were all members of this winery. My husband and son have continued the family tradition, and they are both also administrators at the MVV winery. I've been asked by the team and Max, the director here, to assist them with this video meeting to facilitate communication. So I'll do my best to translate when necessary, but please bear with me as my English is quite rusty these days. Sandrine and the team have prepared this PowerPoint presentation, which hopefully you can see. And hopefully it covers your points of interest and answers any questions you may have. It includes information on our region in the south of France with its terroir, climate and wines. It also presents our cooperative winery in Vidauban with its history, the people behind the scenes, and of course the winemaking process from the harvest until the final product. I have Clement here with me, who is our winemaker and a qualified enologist winemaker. So the first, you've got the first opening slide with the logo of the MVV and the Co-op. We're very proud to have this partnership. And if you can go on to the second slide, yeah, a little bit about our region. It shows you exactly where we're situated in the heart of Provence, in the southeast corner of France, in the department of the Var. Provence is an extremely popular destination for tourists from all over the world. It is a region of exceptional natural beauty, situated between the Alps in the north and the Mediterranean coast in the south. Its sunny climate, postcard scenery of rolling lavender fields, olive groves and vineyards, sun-drenched landscapes, picturesque villages, and the splendid Côte d'Azur and French Riviera attract holidaymakers all year round. Its history, culture, architecture, music festivals, local markets, traditional activities, and the warmth and hospitality of its inhabitants make it one of the most popular destinations in the world. Provence is famous also for its beautiful light and colours. Because of this, the region is associated with many great artists such as Vincent van Gogh, Paul Cézanne, and Pablo Picasso. The next one. Okay. Right, here we have the Provence, the wines in Provence. Provence is renowned for its rosé wines, which are increasingly popular around the world. They account for nearly 90% of the total wine production and are famous for their pale pink colour and their delicate fruity freshness and elegance. The region's Mediterranean climate ensures ample sunshine, which, with the cooling Mistral wind and minimal rainfall, is ideal for optimum healthy grape ripening. Its diverse terroir from limestone and schist, which is a volcanic rock, add complexity to the wines. Okay, food in Provence. Provençal cuisine, rich in Mediterranean flavours, pairs beautifully with Côte de Provence rosé. Its fresh acidity and fruity notes complement pizzas, seafood, ratatouille, and bouillabaisse, a regional fish soup, while its herbal undertones go very well with rye, thyme, rosemary, Provençal herbs, olive oil, aubergines, etc. The rosé is light yet flavourful, and it enhances cured meats, tapenade, goat's cheese, making it a perfect choice for the region's sunny, relaxed outdoor dining culture. Next one, please. Okay, here we can see a slide about the history of the MVV winery. There are 3 important dates in the history. The winery was established in 1912. It was one of the first wineries in the Var, and in this year, 1912, 98 wine growers harvested and brought their grapes to our cooperative for the first time. The cellar had a capacity of 10,000 hectolitres. The second major date that you can see is 1951, when a bottling line was purchased that was able to produce 1,500 bottles per hour. And the third date, 1996, when the winery acquired a pneumatic press and a fully automated reception key.
Janet, sorry,
yes?
I'm just going to, we've had a few people in the chat saying the slides are a bit small, so I'm just going to share the slides from my screen, and then you tell me when you want me to move them on, if that's okay.
Okay.
So hopefully, has that changed over? Does that look better?
Yes, that looks much bigger to me.
Well, okay.
Is that better for you?
I think so, yes. Sorry about that. I will let you crack on.
Okay, shall I carry on?
On peut le fermer, ça? On n'aura plus accès.
No, I shouldn't touch it.
Faire.
Okay, so now we have a slide on our territory. The MVV winery welcomes grapes from across the bordering towns. You can see Vidauban is in the centre, and there are several towns around us. More than 100 wine growers and members of our cooperative bring their grapes to the harvest quay at our winery, putting their trust in us and confident in our ability to produce the best wines from their crops, and thus providing us with great volumes to work with. Okay, the next slide. Oh yeah, it's gone small again. Sorry. Here you can see a few figures. The MVV collects grapes from 400 hectares of vineyards, which represents 15,000 hectolitres a year. It produces wines under 50 different labels, and the wine that you are going to taste or have tasted today is a special selection chosen by Sarah. Now, the climate and the soil. Sunshine is the primary characteristic of the Mediterranean climate, with particularly high temperatures in the summer, although these can vary according to local topography. The summer months here are dry and hot, even scorching on windless days, especially in inland areas. Like other Mediterranean zones, the precipitation is rare in Provence, but when it occurs, it can be quite extreme. Two main geological areas coexist. One is limestone in the west and north of the wine region, and the second crystalline in the east facing the sea. These two areas correspond to two plant formations characteristic of the Mediterranean. Garrigue, which is a terrain rather like the Australian bush, and maquis. The wine-producing soil of Provence is poor but well drained. This shallow soil with no excess humidity is ideal for grapevines. And here we have a close-up of a vine with some calcareous soil, I believe. And the next slide is the grape varieties. So the red and the white varieties. The main red varieties are Grenache, Cinsault, Syrah, Mourvèdre, Thibaudin, and Carignan, with a French accent, I'm afraid. I don't know how they pronounce them in English. And the white varieties are Rolle, Uni-Blanc, Clairette, and Sémillon. Each grape variety has its own unique characteristics. This image of the vineyards in the autumn is typical of the beautiful scenery in Provence at that time of year. The leaves on the vines are changing colour before falling. The colours vary depending on the different grape varieties. Here you can see two of our cooperators at work in their vines. Traditionally a male-dominant activity, today men and women of all generations enjoy this profession. Now the harvest. Harvesting takes place from the end of August to mid-September. Our growers start early in the morning, as early as 1:30 a.m. or 2 a.m. and our gates open at 4 a.m. every morning during this period to ensure the best quality and freshness of the grapes, thus providing the best juices for the wine. The key closes at 10 a.m. before the sunlight becomes too harsh for the grapes. Each grape variety is pressed individually and stored in separate tanks. We make sure to separate varieties according to their status, organic or non-organic, and by appellation, etc. Now, the irresistible rosé. This diagram illustrates the production method for rosé in general and the irresistible, sorry. Firstly, the harvest, which can be either manual or mechanical, is received at the winery. The grapes then go through a process of stripping, which is the removal of leaves and vegetal waste. Then comes the stomping, which is the crushing of the grapes. And then finally the straining procedure. When the press is full, we use direct pressing. We do not do any maceration. Is that right, Clement? Yes.
Can I just jump in there, Janet, because that's a key difference. I know some people were asking about rosé. So many rosés use skin contact, and it may be that the grapes, because the colour comes from the skins of red grapes, they may be in contact for sort of 2, 3, even 4 hours. But Provence rosé, if those of you that got it there in front of you will notice it's incredibly pale, and the reason for that is it's a direct press. They don't want that skin contact. They don't want the colour. It's sort of known for the paleness, and that's why it's become
It's used for the red wine, but not for the rosé. Yeah, to give colour to the red. When the press is full, the pressing is direct. I've already said that, sorry. Sometimes pressed juices are reincorporated depending on the desired visual and sensorial criteria. We then have pressed juice or free run juice. The juices are left to settle in refrigerated tanks for 36 to 48 hours, and fine sediment is filtered. The clear juices are ready to begin the process of fermentation. The fermentation is performed at a controlled temperature between 14 and 18 degrees centigrade, and it lasts for an average of 10 days. Malolactic fermentation is usually blocked for rosé wines. That is a fermentation with bacteria which degrades into an acid that is less strong. The process of conservation and maturation takes place on fine lees in vats or barrels. Then comes the blending of the wine after this alcoholic fermentation. The recently finished wines are then blended based on the qualities of each variety in order to obtain a balanced finished product. Finally, the wine is bottled and packaged. The Cuvée Irresistible, that you know well. All the juices used to make this wine come from direct pressing, no maceration, as you were saying. The juices are left to sit for 48 hours. The fermentation temperature is 14 to 16 degrees. Then comes the process of racking, which is the transferring of the fermenting liquid from one container to another, leaving behind sediment and debris. Finally comes the aging process on fine lees for 3 months, with resuspension of the lees twice a week.
Janet, sorry, to be annoying, I'm just going to explain some of these technical terms for anybody that they might not have heard of them before. So lees is basically dead yeast, and it's what's left in and it's what's used. It's what's used to add texture. It can be used quite helpfully to add texture to the wine. So when they leave the wine,
I have our winemaker next to me here because he's explaining as I go along. The lees are.
On travaille sur les équilibres de la bouche.
It's to help with a balanced taste.
It just sounds so it's not obviously left in the wine once it's finished. Obviously the wine you get is all filtered and everything, but when they're making the wine,
c'est enlevé, mais il en reste un petit peu quand on retravaille et après on enlève complètement.
Yeah, there isn't any left in the final wine, but each stage is a little bit left, and then there's it's on fine lees for 3 months, and with resuspension of the lees twice a week, and in the end it's completely disappeared. So the characteristics of the Cuvée Irresistible: your wine is produced following strict vegan specifications. It is a complex, elegant, light mango-coloured wine, which opens up in the nose with notes of ripe citrus fruit, tangerine, kiwi, lemon, summer fruits such as melon, and spicy notes of white pepper and curry, apparently. Fleshy, suave, and delicate on the palate, this is a gourmet wine with a balanced acidity and persistent, zesty flavours. It is ideal for an aperitif with friends, but also with Asian dishes such as sushi, desserts like fruit salad, or to accompany summer starters such as melon with cured ham, and of course with pizzas.
Thank you, Janet. Can I just answer a couple of questions that have come up as we go?
Okay.
So there's one question about so why you harvest early in the morning. So that's quite an easy one because you don't want the warm temperatures because they can.
Yes, the cool temperature the best for the wine. That's right. That's why we stop at 10 a.m. in the morning, because then the sun starts.
Pour limiter l'oxydation précoce.
To limit the oxidation, premature oxidation.
And the exact grape varieties in this blend.
We'll discuss.
Les variétés
dans
je l'ai pas sous la main.
Irrésistible. We'll come back to you with that if we may.
Je peux les prendre. Tu peux les attendre.
Okay, our commercial secretary is going to find the exact varieties that are used.
And Elaine is asking about the shelf life of rosé once it's bottled. Now, rosé can actually age pretty well, and I think Provence rosé, I'd say, has longer shelf life than some more fruit-driven, crisper rosés. And that lees use that Janet mentioned, that gives it that texture, that creaminess, can help, gives it a bit more weight and structure. So I would say for our rosé, it would be fine to drink over a couple of years. That's fine, but ultimately I wouldn't keep it longer than that because I think you start to lose the fruit.
Okay, I'll just check that with our wine specialist.
Peut-être je mets
Yeah, he's here. This is Clement.
Vidauban.
He can perhaps. Yeah, she's asking about the. Can you still see us there? Can you still hear us?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay, fine. But la durée de rosé, combien d'années on peut le conserver?
Normalement, c'est un produit qu'on boit dans l'année, mais on peut le boire tous 2 ans.
Yes, he said generally it's a wine that needs to be drunk in 1 year or 2.
Yes,
No longer.
that's the same as I'd agree. Yeah. And just the blend of this wine, I think you're checking. While I think we had another question. While you check that, I'll just explain. Alison was asking how we choose the pairings, and we match this wine with the pizza. So at Co-op, what we do, and we've recently done it with some of our pasta range, for example, is we try wines alongside. We as a team will think, okay, these are the pastas that we've got. In this case, what are the pizzas we've got? Okay, what do we think would match well with them? As Janet has mentioned, the Provence Rosé is a style that goes well with pizza, but also I think it counts as that spice. It's like you wouldn't want a red wine with a spicy pizza, but it's got that like weight. It is a food wine, a gastronomic wine, I think you said, because of that creaminess and roundness that makes it a good wine to have with food. So hopefully, Alison, that answers your question.
Yeah, I can come back to you now with the varieties that are in Irresistible. There's 55% Grenache, 25% Cinsault, 10% Syrah, and 5% Carignan.
Carignan.
Okay, so if that answers your question, I don't.
Perfect. We've just had it asked again. Actually, we've got a lovely group from Dorset. Hello, Rachel. We've got a whole they go waving flags. So so thank you. Yes. And I think I had a question as well. Was it Adrian? Apologies if I've got the wrong name. Who was asking, because we have a rosé as well from Spain, the Solo Rosé. In answer to your question of why it's different, that's made just with Grenache. It's a similar climate, also a Mediterranean climate. It's from a part of Spain called Campo de Borja, which is very well known for its old vine Grenache. And I'd say compared to this Provence one that we're tasting now, it's a little bit perhaps riper and fruitier and less rounded in the mouth, perhaps less creamy, and I think that does go back to the work with the lees that Janet was talking about, that this is perhaps a broader, fuller style of rosé compared to the Spanish one.
D'accord. Just ask, ils sont en train de goûter aussi un rosé espagnol, donc ils demandent, c'est beaucoup moins crémeux, moins rond. Et ils demandent pourquoi, parce que c'est un climat similaire, pourquoi...
Don't worry, Janet, because it may not have...
Ils disent que il y a beaucoup de
Oui,
grenache.
mais les grenaches, il en existe beaucoup, et on a une question d'identité de terroir.
Okay. Yeah, so even though there's a lot of grenache in
Plusieurs clones de grenache.
in the Spanish wine, there are lots of different types of grenache, and it all depends on the terroir, the soil, and the climate. Even though can be quite similar, I'm sure there's many different terroirs in Spain than in France.
Absolutely. Could you repeat the grapes again, Rowena? We've got some keen students here wanting to make a note of the grape varieties.
Irresistible.
Yes, please.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So 55% Grenache, 25% Cinsault, 10% Syrah, and 5% Carignan.
There you go. Hope everyone's got that. Maybe a spoiler, but I don't think we're going to test you on that later, so it's okay. And we have a question from Alison. I'm pretty sure the answer is rosé here, but which wine is the most popular in Provence? Rosé, red, or white?
Rosé.
Rosé.
Yes. Especially in the summer months, obviously. Yeah, it's a chilled rosé wine in summer is very, very popular.
I think we're still catching up with rosé now in the UK, but interestingly, I did a bit of work looking at what people are Googling and what they're searching for wine, to sort of, again, like the pizza guys, see what trends they are. And the time of year when most people were searching for rosé was actually at Christmas time.
Really?
Well, it's not a time that you associate with it. You think of summer and sunshine, but it shows that it's more and more a year-round wine that people are enjoying, which is really encouraging.
Ouais,
Yeah.
maintenant, en Angleterre, souvent, c'est pour le Noël que les gens veulent boire du
D'accord.
rosé. Cool, yeah.
And we have one more question from so Alison from Dorset wants to know the ideal temperature that you would serve this wine at.
Quelle est la température idéale pour servir le rosé?
Généralement entre 10 et 12 degrés.
Between 10 and 12 degrees.
10 and 12 degrees, perfect. So not straight out the fridge or too cold, but warm it up. I think we either have wine that's too cold or too warm.
Too cold, yeah.
in
Well,
the
si
UK.
c'est trop froid, ça tue un peu l'eau.
Ça ferme le nez, ça fait reculer dans
Yeah, it closes the nose and it's less
Yeah.
flavour.
It can really open up if you've just in the time that we've been talking, you get a lot more if you just from
Yeah,
when it
I'm
sits in the
sure.
glass for a while.
I'm sure. Yeah.
Okay,
well-
yeah, sorry.
Yeah,
I was going to say, I
any
don't
more
think we've got
questions?
any. If anybody has any more questions in the chat, don't forget you can also come off mute and ask your question in person as well. We do have one question back on the pizza guys. So from Adrian wanting to know what's the next big pizza trend that we should be looking for. Don't worry, that's not one for you, Janet. Hopefully one of the
no, okay.
hopefully one of the pizza guys can
Feel
ask
free to
that.
have a go, though.
Yeah.
No, thank you.
You could tell us what it is in Provence. Maybe that's one for the food, the food hunt when we're looking for the next ideas. Yeah, Martin, Meghan, what do you think?
Yeah, no, I think there's a number of trends in the pizza category that we could talk about. I think for the Irresistible range, what's really interesting is that we recently went on a trawl in Italy, in Bologna, and also went to a pizza show there. And what we saw was from the Italians, when we were talking to them about the trends that we're seeing, it's all about how premium a pizza can be, like really spotlighting good quality ingredients, the best of the best, to really make it a really delightful eating occasion, which I think ties in very well with our Irresistible pizzas, as we are at, with Co-op always looking for the best. So focusing on dialing up kind of the naming of ingredients on our pizzas, and then also just as a kind of classic trend that we're seeing across the board, it's constantly increasing and Co-op have been at the forefront of, and it's continuing to rise, is around that global kind of fusion that we're seeing. So I don't know if you all remember, we did the Kashmiri butter chicken, which is currently in stores. So taking, a very different style of eating and then pairing it with a pizza. We're seeing that a lot across all sorts of different categories in the food markets.
That's great. Thank you very much. I think I mentioned a little bit, but Pauline's asking why we match this with a particular pizza. I think that this rosé goes really well with spice. I think Janet, you said with curry as well. Even
Yes,
that we'd have it,
yeah,
so it can handle the
Yes,
heat of the
c'est ça.
pepperoni. Yeah, and it's got that weight and creaminess that it can handle. You've got quite a lot of richness of the pizza with you've got the acidity from the tomatoes, the wine balances it. It's got nice fresh acidity as well, and it can counter the richness from the cheese. So it all it goes really well. So that's why we when we had it together, we thought, well, actually this, people think of red wine and pizza, but actually we're dedicated to rosé on this one. Yeah. And we have some comments about it being fuller and more flavorful than people think of rosé, so that's good to hear.
Les gens qui disent que c'est beaucoup de goût, de parfum. Ils n'ont pas l'habitude de boire des rosés comme ça.
Si.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you. You're very welcome. Have we got any more questions at all? Anybody want to ask anything in the chat or come off mute and ask a question themselves, either about pizza or about the wine?
I've got a question for Meghan here, Sarah. It was it was one of the earlier ones in the event, but I want to make sure it doesn't get missed. It's more of a technical pizza question for you, Meghan, related to the one that we're talking about tonight. So it says that the pizza instructions say to drizzle the hot honey over the pizza. Does the sachet of honey need warming up, or is that the hot honey? Do you just drizzle it, or does it need warming first?
Yeah, so when we're saying hot honey, it's that how we call stuff that's spicy hot as well.
Yeah,
that's what we're
spice,
referring to. So when we developed the pizza, we looked at both standard honey and then honey with chili flakes, etc., as determined as a hot honey, and that kind of hit the flavor notes that we were looking for more. So yeah, it's a spicy honey. It's not a warm one, but I'd be interested to see anyone's feedback if they did try and heat it up. Just not too hot, because you'll definitely burn yourself with the sugars in there.
Brilliant. Thank you, Meghan. So just a reminder for everyone, if you want to use the raise your hand function, and we can bring you off mute and ask you a question. I did see a hand go up earlier, but it did go down by the time I went to look for it. So if you do have any questions, feel free to pop your hand up. Or use the raise hand function, sorry. If you are just waving on the screen, we're not going to see you, sorry.
We have a couple of questions from Kath, actually. So one is why in France is rosé referred to as a swimming pool wine? Vin de piscine.
Swimming pool wine. I've never heard that. Ah oui, notre œnologue. Yeah. Pourquoi on appelle ça une vin de piscine? Parce que
généralement, on associe ça à des couleurs légères, des degrés alcooliques plus faibles que du rouge.
Because it's associated with summer, with less alcohol, a lighter colour compared to red wine.
Okay. So you'd say that this could be classified as a swimming pool wine?
On peut appeler une autre vin de piscine. Tu qualifierais ça d'une vin de piscine?
Un petit peu, oui. Oh, oui.
Yes, he would agree with that. We're calling it a swimming pool wine.
To use your imagination in the less sunny UK, but there we go. And Kath was also asking about a tasting note for this wine. For me, and please do you both tell me your thoughts as well. But like for me, a signature of Provence is it has a little bit of a herbal aroma. I mean, they talk about the garrigue or the rosemary, and it's got a slightly savoury herbal character. And then from the Grenache, you get a lot of the red fruit. And then I always think of the creamy texture as being the components of what makes a good Provence wine. So hopefully that helps for tasting note from me. I don't know, Janet, do you have anything to add?
Well, I'd just like to say that Max Alberto and all the team here at the MVV Winery would like to thank you, the Co-op in the UK, for your collaboration in this successful partnership. We thank you for your trust and hope to continue to work with you as partners for a long time in the future. And we hope you like the wine, obviously. Also, if one day anyone's visiting the south of France, you're very welcome here at the winery. We'd love to see you. You can come and taste our wines. It's always better to see people than via a screen. So there we go. Thank you very much.
You're going to have a flood of visitors now, I'm sure.
Okay.
Brilliant. So, Sarah, just looking at the time, we've got about 5 minutes left. So we did mention at the beginning of the event that there will be a chance for one member on the call to win a bottle. So I believe you've got a question for us for those who are paying attention, and the way it's going to work is it's the first correct answer in the chat will win the bottle. So Sarah, over to you.
So what year was the winery founded? Don't say anything, Janet.
Oh, there we go, straight away. Kaz has come in with the correct answer straight away. So there you go. Thumbs Kaz is up. And then replied to go, congratulations, so we know who it is. Well, congratulations, Kaz. What I'll do is I'll drop my email address in the chat in a minute, and then you'll be able. And then if you drop me an email, we'll organise getting the wine to you. Brilliant. So, looking at the time, Sarah, is there anything else that you want to cover before we finish?
I don't think so. Just hopefully, I don't know if there are any of you there that don't drink rosé normally or are a bit reluctant to try it, but hopefully we've converted some of you. It didn't. I know Brad Pitt made it all much more trendy a few years ago, but it deserves to be with or without celebrities. It's a good wine in its own right. Hopefully you've discovered to have some more fun with the pairings, and really, if you've not tried it already, try it with the pizza. You've learned some great things about how we develop our pizzas from the guys at Stateside. So thank you very much for joining us, and we're looking forward to seeing you at the next one.
Thanks, Sarah. Well, right, a couple of final things from me. First off, I just want to say again, Sarah, congratulations on recently becoming a master of wine, one of only 425 in the world. So massive congratulations. And again, thank you for spending your time with us on these events to help us all learn more about wine together. I really do appreciate it. Thank you to everyone else who's been on the call tonight. Meghan, Martin, Janet and Clement. Yes, there we go. I've got it. And everybody else, thank you so much.
Thank you.
We do have the next online wine event booked in and ready to be booked on. So that's going to be taking place on Wednesday, the 9th of April at 7 o'clock. And we're going to be covering our Co-op Irresistible Macon Village Chardonnay. I'll drop the link in the chat now. So feel free to jump on and book onto the next one. And then I will also drop the YouTube playlist in the chat as well. So the recording for this will be there in the next couple of days. If you did want to watch anything back, if you wanted to think, oh, do you know what? Somebody said something about that rosé, which I want to try and remember. I'll jump back on the event and have a look at what they said. I'll be putting that in the chat too. It's also got all of our previous wine events on there. So I think we're way over 20 videos and 20 events on there now for you to just sit back and get a glass of wine and watch it at your leisure. So I'm going to drop those in the chat now, and then in a couple of minutes we will end the call. But just a massive thank you everyone for spending your Wednesday evening with us, learning more about pizza and wine. Hopefully we'll see you at a future event. Take care. See you later.
Bye-bye. Thank you so much.
Thank you for the time.